Did you know that the very first chiropractic adjustment was not for back pain, but actually restored hearing in a man that had been deaf for 17 years? In this video, you'll hear how that is actually possible and learn about the key component that most people are missing as part of a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so about the deaf guy getting his hearing back. Back in 1895, there was a man named Harvey Lillard who was a janitor who had lost his hearing 17 years earlier after bending awkwardly and hearing a pop in his spine. In the building he worked in, there was a man named D.D. Palmer, who was a magnetic healer. When Dr. Palmer learned of the origin of Mr. Lillard's hearing loss and noticed a significant misalignment in his spine, he surmised there was a correlation between the misalignment and the hearing loss, and correction of that misalignment could restore his hearing. He was correct, and Mr. Lillard's hearing was restored following a spinal adjustment. So was the cure for deafness found? No. What was discovered was that spinal misalignments could have a negative impact on a person's health, and correction of those misalignments could improve the health of a person. A profession was born, and over the next several decades, chiropractic was developed as more was understood about exactly how it worked. And what was learned was that the nervous system plays a primary role in the health of the body. So, the brain is the control center in the body. And there is constant communication back and forth between the brain and the body to keep everything functioning normally. And it is absolutely mind-blowing how it all works, as most of the time everything happens without us even thinking about it. As I'm talking to you right now, I don't even need to think about my heart beating at a certain rate, my lungs breathing in and out, delivering oxygen into my lungs, which delivers the oxygen into my cells of my body. All the while, my stomach is digesting the food I had for breakfast. And that is just the tip of the iceberg of all the processes going on in concert in the body so that I can just go about my day. In a nutshell, the body is a self-healing, self-regulating system. All these processes depend on the brain communicating with the body and the body communicating back to the brain, using the nervous system as a central communication line. What D.D. Palmer discovered was that this communication line can be disrupted. You see, the primary communication lines, also known as the central nervous system, are housed in the spine. These lines are encased in bone because they're so important. The bones have joints between them so that you can move around and bend. However, these joints can be injured, causing the bones to misalign and actually compress the nerves they are supposed to protect. These communication lines are delicate, so even small misalignments can cause disruption of communication. The body cannot work efficiently if the communication lines between the brain and the body are disrupted. For example, say there's interference in the communication lines between the brain and the stomach due to a misalignment in the spine. You have dinner, and certain amounts of digestive enzymes need to be secreted in specific amounts depending on the food that you ate. The stomach sends the information to the brain, exactly what it needs. But there's static in the line. There's interference. So the brain gets the wrong information and the wrong enzymes are then secreted in the wrong amounts. And this happens over and over again. This is a problem. And in this example, the person thinks they have a stomach problem, when in reality, they have a communication problem. It would be like if your refrigerator in your house goes out and your food goes bad. You replace the fridge, but it still doesn't work. Then you go and check the circuit breaker box and realize that the circuit to the lines in the fridge was tripped. You didn't have a fridge problem, you had a communication problem. So no power was being communicated to the fridge. Wouldn't it make sense to check the circuit breaker box first? That is why I said in the beginning of this video, people are missing a key component to a healthy lifestyle. Well, what is that key component? It's making sure that the communication lines between the brain and the body are working properly. Since these communication lines are housed in the spine, spinal misalignments can cause disruption in these communication lines. Just like an electrician detecting and correcting a problem with the electricity in your home, a chiropractor detects and corrects, restoring proper communication between the brain and the body. I've said it before and I will say it again. Chiropractic is not a treatment for all health problems. In fact, to say more correctly, chiropractic really isn't a treatment for any health problems. What chiropractic does is detect and correct spinal misalignments to remove interference in the communication lines between the brain and the body so that you can function at your optimum. It's checking the breaker box first. And ideally, it would be better to remove this interference as soon as possible instead of waiting for health problems or symptoms to develop due to long-term communication disruption. The cool thing is that chiropractors are trained to detect and correct spinal misalignments, so you don't have to wait until symptoms develop. That is why many people get regular chiropractic checkups as part of their health routine. They know that if their brain and body are communicating properly, they function better and they actually get more out of the other things they do to be healthy, such as eating well or exercising or just plain living life. I share all this with you because this information shouldn't be a secret. But as I've said before, because chiropractors primarily work on the back, because that's where the spine is that houses the nerves, the circuit breaker box, people think that chiropractors just help people with back problems. And honestly, I don't fault people for this. Chiropractic does help people with back problems. People come to see me for help with back problems, and I help them. It's just that since people think that chiropractic is mainly for back pain, they miss out on all the benefits that chiropractic has to offer. So I invite you to like and share this video so people can find out more about how chiropractic can help them. I also invite you to subscribe to this channel so you can find out more about the different ways that chiropractic can help you and the ones you love. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.